Hey, looks like we're live, so checking out GODZone. I thought I could do some commentary, so I'm pretty keen to follow up over the next 5 days and 5 to 8 days and follow the teams, follow them through. And so we'll start off day one looking at 12 hours after the start, and let's take a look at the course at a high level. So this is the 500 kilometers of the course so far, of the course planned out that's been given. Obviously this is not the map that the competitors have, but for anyone looking at GODZone for the first time, then I think this is a good place to start. So it's a long course, and we can have a quick look at the stats here just to have a good feel of exactly how long this is. We're talking 666 kilometers estimated based on the organizers, and it's going to take the top teams 4 to 5 days, and there's going to be people out on the course for 8 days, so it's a huge undertaking. This is coded for each league, depending on the discipline that they're doing. So yellow is mountain biking, the purple is the pack rafting. So that pack rafting could be on water or on rivers, and even some of the pack rafting could be over land, such as that section there where they've rolled their rafts up and are carrying them. You've also got these quite long mountain bike legs in the yellow, and you've got the trek legs in the red there. Another long pack raft. Long trek, very long trek. That's going to be a make or break for many people. And we've got another ride, and then a big kayak across Lake Taupo. Ride, another paddle there, and I think they've labelled that one as a pack raft also, although they've got it in light blue, which is a little bit confusing. And then mountain biking back home to Rotorua. So that's the whole course at a high level, and looking at the course with a little more relief. It's not as mountainous as many of the previous GODZone races we've seen, which is of course the nature of the Rotorua and central North Island area. But they do get down into the Kaweka and Kaimanawa forests, which, although might not have the highest elevation, are pretty tough going. And I don't have a great sense of which trails are out there in the forest and which ones are. We've got the topo maps to have a look at, and we'll have a look at these maps over the next few days, because this is what they'll be using. But I don't really know how up to date these are. So this is the best we can do, is just with these maps here, and I'll take you through point by point around the whole course, so we can chop and change between the different relief styles here on the map. And I prefer something like this that shows the contours, and it's quite nice to have the shading in also, but to get a sense of exactly what kind of forest they're going through, the satellite view is also quite useful. So let's take a look at how it was at the start. I think the most notable thing at the start of this year's race is that they had a staggered start, which is pretty unusual. Normally they'd get everyone together and start them off at the same time. Of course, it's a race from the start line to the finish line, but with some COVID restrictions coming in, they have split up the starts a little bit. So there's groups at 10 minutes off, 10 minutes separated at the start. So the leaders out on course are not necessarily leaders in absolute time, and at TA2, this second transition zone, they will reverse that staggering start era by giving the teams that had the advantage, giving them a disadvantage at TA2 by holding them back a little bit. So apart from that, the start seemed to go off pretty routine. They've just got some mountain biking to start up through the Rotorua forest, and I'm sure this is pretty comfortable for most of the guys that we're going to be following more closely. And these are the little GPS dots coming up from the start, and as you can see, they're staggered out from the start, which is not usually the case. Well, this is jumping around a bit. Here we go. Of course, there's normally a huge. Okay, come on, slider, stay still. Not quite sure what this slide is on about. It's really not liking me now. Okay, if in doubt, refresh page. Here we go. So you can see at the start everyone's pretty spread out, which is kind of unusual. Normally we have this huge pack starting off, and they've got to get these checkpoints. So checkpoint 1 down in this this valley here by the stream. I'm sure many people who are into multisport have been there. Very common mountain biking area in Rotorua. See if we can get. Yeah, come on. Can't get this thing. Oh yeah, here we go. It's just that map that won't zoom in anymore, so we can get a little bit closer on this. So this is just normal foresty area, and we know that they have to go to checkpoint 1, and the route that's marked on is just a guess. Well, it's more than a guess. They have a fairly good idea about where the competitors will go, but it's not a guarantee. So there's no markers out on the course. They're just navigating off the topo map, or they might have a better map than this. But I think it's safe to assume that they're using a map like this a lot of the time, so you can have a better feel for exactly what this looks like. Maybe they get a better map, like a local orienteering or mountain bike orienteering map to use to navigate with. But we're just going to be looking at them on maps like this. So checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, they might take different routes between these checkpoints, but you can't guarantee it. There's checkpoint 3, and you can see some of them are quite close together, and some of them are much further apart. So this is up on the walkway, the GODZone walkway, I believe. And this is quite a nice trail. Run this a few times myself. A very nice trail going up over this hill, and it's mountain bikeable. It's not super rooty trail running. It's quite broad. And from there, they've got checkpoint 4 on the GODZone walkway, and then they're off to the first transition zone where they transition from mountain biking to pack rafting. So if we drag the GPS forward a little bit, so they were hitting the stage around midday today. In the afternoon, they're getting out on the pack rafts, and it would be nice to see. We won't look too much at the teams in this first. Well, we can look at the top 10, but I mean the order is not exactly the right order because of those different start times that they were given. And yeah, they've got this pack rafting leg that's taking them to the next checkpoint, which is checkpoint 6. And so the obvious way to do this is really to paddle to this trail and then carry the pack rafts along the trail, and then paddle the rest of the way up to checkpoint 6. And there was a nice little video on Instagram actually of them lugging their rafts along the trail, running along with their rafts. So they chose to not deflate these rafts, which you can deflate and roll up and put them in your pack, hence pack raft. Some of the teams were choosing to carry them, and that will be interesting to see. This is a much longer trek with the pack rafts, so they will almost certainly roll them up and put them away for this long trek. but it was interesting to see people carrying the pack rafts over that short, what are we talking here, 1 kilometer? Nope, we're up here, way up here. That's 2 kilometers, and they've chosen to carry. Reckoning that's the most time efficient way of doing it. So this is what the guys have been up to in the afternoon, finishing off this pack raft leg. I suspect they almost certainly would have rolled them up in this section along here. That's quite a long trek, and then reflated the pack rafts again for the paddle across Lake Rotorua. It's quite interesting, I think, this area up here. I'm not really sure what's going on. So the checkpoint, what we call 6. Yeah, 6 is up here. Then you've got 7 and 8, which are kind of in this middle area. 7 here and 8 over here. And I'm not entirely sure whether there's a trail or not. Based on this map, there's not. I don't know if there's anything local, if they've got a different map than this, but that's fairly ruthless. I'd be interested to see how they get on with that. It seems like most people got through it fairly straightforward. We'll just jump to the tracking. You can see people going through. Some people choosing to take some different routes, which is great to see, because I think previously the navigation components have been relatively weak in GODZone, and I'd love to see some much tougher navigational challenges. So this is what it looks like, and you can see here the GPS points coming through, and most people seem to be going fairly straight, but there are some people who have chosen to go to the river, which I think is quite smart. What they've done is checkpoint. I'll just remind you, once we jump across to the topo map, checkpoint 7 is here, where my cursor is. Checkpoint 8 is here, and so everyone's really had to go straight through the bush to get to this checkpoint 8. But then getting out to checkpoint, well, it's not really to the checkpoint, it's more just getting out to the river, because just to the lake, because checkpoint 9 is all the way down here. So the chosen method of getting out has been a bit different between teams, which is cool to see. I think we should watch Team 44 here. So Team 44 have come. Here they are over here. Good guys. So they've taken an interesting decision. It's nice to see someone not doing the same as everyone else. They've come out to the farmland and come along and then back down the stream. The GPS has kind of stopped there a little bit, which is making it hard to see. So I'm not sure. I suspect they've come into 8 and then back out to the farmland and then trekked out from there, which is cool. And you've also seen some people who are going from 8 going down the stream, which I guess is walking through the bush to there. I'm not sure if it's big enough to raft down. Couldn't comment on that. And then they're getting out onto the road for much faster travel. So I think that's a really nice positioning of the checkpoint 8 there, and giving both ways, back out to the road or back out to the farmland, and then across the farmland to the road. So that's cool to see. And you can see them all getting strung out now as they paddle across Lake Rotorua here in the lovely Rotorua lakes. Definitely making good use of the lakes early on in this year's GODZone. So I think we'll get a lot more into the teams in our in the next update tomorrow morning. I guess I'll do these every 12 hours, and then we can get a bit more familiar with some of the guys that are going well, because of course when I will be commenting on the positions, they'll actually be correct, because they won't have these time delays. Well, actually they'll still have the time delays until TA2. They'll still have the time differences based on the staggered starting. We should have a fair idea of the leaders coming to the fore though at this stage, so you want to get, I think, more familiar with iSport here. You've got a lot of experience here, and these guys, Duke Allen, Theo Wadsworth, Simone Meyer and Richie McCaw, these guys have been going pretty hard for many years between them. You've got a lot of multi-sport experience. You've got a lot of very different sporting experiences actually, so that's cool. And I'm not sure what start block they were in at first. You've got Avea. You have to say these guys would be the favourites. The number of hours of adventure racing experience and number of world championship medals between these guys is outrageous, and it'll be interesting to see if they can live up to the expectations. There's a lot that can go wrong in 5 days out in the bush. Tiki Tour have been at the fore of some of these adventure races, especially GODZone. Got a lot of experience with Tom Lucas, Mike Kelly, Kim Sherman and George Lucas. Been following these names for years, and they're very fit, and it'd be great to see them have another crack. I can't honestly say what positions they've got in the past few years, but they're always close to the top, and you should always watch them. A lot of experience here as well, a lot of multi-sporting and navigation sport experience. Brent Stemmens, Craig Hamilton, Scott McDonald and Fiona Dowling. Definitely watch out for these guys, but I'm not, as I said, I'm still not sure exactly what they started in. Here we've got Highland Events, Brendan Perdue, Patrick Grasso, Ali Wilson and Aaron Cutler. Again, experienced adventure racers and multi-sporters. Out for the View, getting up in the mix as well. Bob Lee, Paul Billing, Rachel Smith, Aaron Mallet. I'm not familiar with all the names, so it'd be good to get up to date with everyone who's on the course today. Sneaky Weasel Gang at it again. Tane Ranger, Tane Cambridge, Stuart Webb, Claire Bell and Bobby Dean. And we've got Ataraxia, MacPack, Tom Reynolds, Hannah Lowe, Matt Jeans and Sean Palmer. So it'd be great to see the rest of these teams, how they go, and how they go on this trek coming up. And we'll follow them up the hill a little bit. And this is what it looks like on the topo map. So I think this is always more relevant to take a look at. Checkpoint is at the top. Looks like it's at the top there. Zoom out a little bit. Up this guy. Here we go. Up this big boy. So yeah, heading up this way. Whakakamana, big mountain there, and I'm assuming there's some other paths that they might be able to follow some of the way through here, but I'm really not sure. This is not an area I've been in. It'd be very interesting to see how tough the going is for these guys. There does seem to be a suggested route that everyone is pretty much on track following. They've had a few people had a crack at going through the forest here. It was cut down forest, but managed exotic pine forest. and then they've come in, so they haven't followed the forest all the way to the edge. 16 Nutrient Rescue and 16 Team Backpack. These guys have come back in. They've decided this was the better option to get down up the spur. Follow the spur along the whole way is the recommended path. Oh, not quite. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, so maybe there's some options to get up some of these other spurs, but this guy is pretty steep and narrow. But I'd say once you're on the spur, you just stick to it. Cool, and where we stand at the moment, we've had three teams get to the top. Sneaky Weasel Gang almost there. And we've got Avaya taking the lead to get to and Iceport down the other side, and they're going to be getting onto the river and following that out a lot faster than what it would have been walking through the bush with the pack rafts. Well, we'll see. Maybe the river's not big enough. Actually, I think we'll see. We'll see what they choose. Looks rocky. Not good. Maybe they're following the road. The recommended path, the purple line, which of course they can't see, but we can see, is on the road quite a bit by the looks of it. But yeah, and these guys look like they're following the road as well, if the GPS dots are accurate enough. Sweet, so I look forward to giving them a hard night out, and I'm gonna tune back in tomorrow morning and we'll see where the victims are up to. Hey Joseph. Lucas Brothers, yeah, pretty solid. Very experienced. Yeah, been at it for some years. I don't know them personally, but I know of them and have been watching their names for as long as I have followed adventure racing. So Joseph was asking about who are they racing with this year. Do you remember the name? I've forgotten already. Can't even find them, Joseph. Can't even find them. What team number? Totally dropped it. Maybe today. Where are they? Where are they? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. They're in Take Tour. Yeah. So this is a strong bunch. Yeah, would have expected them to be one of the favourites. In fact, I think they were in the lead for a while. Was it GODZone in Queenstown? I think they were sticking it to Sword Fox and Avaya, if I recall correctly, and slid back towards the end. Although, I'm not quite sure. I'd have to look back at that to say exactly what the team was for Tiki Torch back then. Anyway, if you're still watching, Joseph, maybe you want to jump on tomorrow. Wouldn't mind having some other people jump on to get some discussion going. Should be fun to follow for 5 days. There's no reason why I can be the only one talking. I mean, it's not fairly not that complicated to get on and have a look at the screen. So open invite, really. Anyway, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Feel free to leave any questions on this, and yeah, we can get all the screen watchers together maybe, because I know we all, I know when everyone's at work, we just whack the second monitor up on the GODZone tracking and pretend to be working on the other monitor. I know there's a lot of people who follow it for 5 days, so no reason why we shouldn't have a little more interaction and content around it. Sweet guys, checking out. See you later.